Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Mrteamguy with another episode of Gaming Spotlight. Today I want to talk about an indie action FPS game called ATOMEGA. It was developed and published by Reflection and Ubisoft on September 90th, 2017. ATOMEGA is very simple. Its premise and its gameplay loop are exactly the same. Get big so you can get bigger. It's a race to the top of a food chain. There isn't anything to overthink. Sometimes less is more, but sometimes more is more. ATOMEGA's thematic purity comes at the cost of any real nuance or any real variation. There's an intriguing framework, but it isn't expanded upon enough. Its simplicity is a double-edged sword. ATOMEGA is the newest game from Ubisoft Reflections, the developer responsible for the charming games like Grow Home and Grow Up. This game undeniably retains that charm. Its cyber-futuristic landscape made up of purple and yellows, as blocky dinosaurs and robots roam freely. However, its approach is significantly more aggressive than the Grow games could ever claim to be. ATOMEGA is an 8-person PC-only arena shooter that emphasizes quickly growing up. Players start as tiny balls of light, and they try to acquire blocks to attack en masse. This can be achieved by either finding stray blocks that are littered around the battlefield, or by attacking other players and stealing their mass. Attacks are limited to shooting, and there's only one weapon type that operates on a cooldown. The ultimate goal is to have the most points at the end of a 10-minute game, and being big is the only means of scoring significant points. There's a 7-stage growth cycle that players try to progress through. Starting as an Atom, they work their way to Cell, Zoa, Sour, Prime, Superior and Omega. There are advantages and drawbacks to each form, but they're consistent across each evolution. The smaller ones are more nimble and agile but weaker. The larger ones are more powerful but unable to move as quickly or jump as high. This could make for interesting style of play if there wasn't an unmitigated focus on scoring points. The smaller forms can access the more movement-oriented areas of a map, such as the jump pads and the speed tunnels. However, utilizing these is just a means of finding blocks that other players might not be able to reach, and the end is to get bigger. It's always about getting bigger. There's a mental trade-off between all the stages in ATOMEGA that makes each one simultaneously more and less enjoyable relative to the ones before it. The smaller forms feel oddly safe because of their quickness and tiny stature, but the bigger forms also feel safe because of their increased health and damage. The truth is that neither is safe, so you're always better off just being as big as possible. ATOMEGA has a couple of crutches that help vary this cycle. There are power-ups scattered across the map that enhance one component of what you're trying to do. There's also the strategic option to teleport, which means reverting one form but returning to full health and not starting over again as an atom. It's important to know when you're bested. Those crutches don't vary it enough though. ATOMEGA matches play out too similarly to one another, often with early momentum serving as a key to holding onto leads. At release there's one map and one free-for-all game mode. This game is a joy at first and then it diminishing returns in each subsequent match. There just isn't enough opportunity to create memorable moments for this multiplayer game to have legs. Experience-based character shaders aren't enough interesting to keep playing. Ironically, ATOMEGA's fatal flaw is that it never grew to its full potential. It's a mostly unique multiplayer game that's good until it's too familiar. Once it's too familiar, it's too small and simple for its own good. Unfortunately, ATOMEGA is just a one-trick pony with only one arena and maximum of 8 players and small pool of power-ups. The game begins to get tired and repetitive after only about an hour of play. You get very minor cosmetic unlocks as you level up, but there's no real sense of progression. And aside from gaining Omega status and death beaming all your opponents into oblivion, the game doesn't have anything innovative or new to bring to the FPS table. What's more is that Ubisoft aren't really promoting the game, which is an insta-dev for a new online multiplayer game. We saw how the community vanished for Honor, so you can probably predict how long a shelf life this game is going to have. And despite having a pretty reasonable price tag, I wouldn't say it's particularly good value for money either, as you will only gain a few hours enjoyment out of it. And there's a 0 point waiting to pick this up on a sale, as I highly doubt there will be anyone to play with by then. It's a real shame, I know, but I can't recommend this game. Okay, this is your boy Mrteamguy for another episode of Gaming Spotlight. Just want to say thanks for watching and have a nice day.